Armenia, a land of mountains, memory, and resilience. At the very heart of the Caucasus lies Armenia, a country small in size but monumental in spirit. Landlocked, rugged, and ancient, Armenia is a nation where history is not just remembered, it is lived daily. Every stone church, every mountain peak, every village orchard carries stories that stretch back thousands of years. The Armenian flag reflects this story. 3 horizontal stripes, red, blue, and orange. Red is not just the color of sacrifice, but also of perseverance. It symbolizes the highlands where Armenians have lived for millennia and the blood shed in their long fight for survival. Blue is the hope of peace, the desire to live under a calm, unbroken sky. Orange is the ingenuity, hard work, and creative spirit of the Armenian people, and yes, also the apricot, the fruit that is native here and considered a national treasure. Some Armenians see in the red stripe the memory of the 1.5 million victims of the genocide carried out during the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, an event that still defines the nation's collective memory and fuels the resilience of its diaspora. A country shaped by mountains. Geography has shaped Armenia's fate. Entirely landlocked, the country is nestled among towering mountains, deep gorges, and volcanic plateaus. Its capital, Yerevan, founded in 782 BC, is one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited cities. Just beyond its horizon rises Mount Ararat, now within Turkish borders, yet inseparable from Armenian identity. The mountain's snowy peak appears on the country's coat of arms, etched into art, poetry, and national imagination. The land is fertile yet demanding. About 72% of Armenia's territory is devoted to agriculture, with mountain terraces producing apricots, grapes, grains, and vegetables. Winemaking traditions here go back over 6,000 years. Archaeologists discovered the world's oldest known winery inside a cave in Armenia, complete with grape seeds and fermentation vats. This makes Armenia not just a birthplace of Christianity, but also one of the earliest homes of viticulture. Armenia's climate offers long, warm summers and crisp, snowy winters. The volcanic soil makes farming productive, but life in the highlands has never been easy. People adapted by building terraced fields, managing scarce water supplies, and developing a cuisine rich in dried fruits, nuts, lavash bread, and stews that can sustain families through cold winters. Power and precariousness. Despite its natural resources, Armenia faces an energy paradox. With huge potential for hydropower and solar energy, the country instead relies heavily on nuclear energy, inherited from Soviet infrastructure. Its main plant, Metsamor, sits uncomfortably in an earthquake-prone zone, raising fears yet supplying about 40% of Armenia's electricity. Meanwhile, ambitious projects in renewable energy are slowly growing, as Armenia seeks both sustainability and independence from foreign fuel imports. The Armenian people. Armenia's population is just over 3 million, and remarkably homogeneous, about 97% are ethnic Armenians. Small communities of Yazidis, Russians, and Greeks also live here, but the cultural identity is overwhelmingly Armenian. Yet perhaps the most striking fact is this: more Armenians live outside Armenia than within. Around 8 million people of Armenian descent are spread across the world, in Russia, the Middle East, Europe, and especially the United States. Los Angeles alone has more Armenians than the second-largest city of Armenia itself. This global dispersion is a direct consequence of the genocide of 1915 to 1917, when Armenians were expelled, marched into deserts, or killed during the Ottoman Empire's last days. Survivors rebuilt their lives abroad, and the diaspora has become one of Armenia's greatest strengths. Through remittances, cultural preservation, and international advocacy, Armenians abroad remain deeply tied to their ancestral land. Language and identity. One of Armenia's strongest symbols of unity is its language and alphabet. Created by Mesrop Mashtots in the 5th century, the Armenian alphabet contains 38 unique letters. It was designed not just as a writing system but as a cultural foundation, allowing the Bible and other texts to be translated, preserving faith and identity. The alphabet is so revered that a monument was built in its honor, where each stone letter stands tall in the open air. Armenian exists in two main dialects, Eastern, spoken in Armenia itself, and Western, preserved mainly by the diaspora. Despite differences, the language remains a thread connecting Armenians across continents, keeping a scattered people tied to their roots. Faith and tradition. Religion is another cornerstone of identity. Armenia was the first country in the world to adopt Christianity as a state religion, around 301 AD. Ancient monasteries like Geghard, Tadov, and Khor Virap still stand as spiritual beacons, often perched on cliffs or hidden deep in gorges. Khor Virap, near the Turkish border, holds special meaning. It was here that Gregory the Illuminator, who brought Christianity to Armenia, was once imprisoned. Armenian churches are distinctive, small, stone-built, and designed with conical domes that rise toward the heavens. Many have survived earthquakes, wars, and invasions, symbolizing endurance and faith through centuries of upheaval. Culture, chess, and wrestling. Armenians are fiercely proud of their cultural achievements. Chess is practically a national sport, taught in schools and celebrated in competitions. Armenian grandmasters have claimed multiple world titles, and the legacy of Tigran Petrosian, a world champion, still inspires players today. Wrestling, too, holds a special place. Armenian athletes excelled under Soviet rule, often returning with Olympic medals, and the tradition continues with international victories. Music and dance add color to Armenian culture. Traditional instruments like the duduk, a woodwind made of apricot wood, produce haunting melodies that UNESCO has recognized as intangible cultural heritage. Armenian folk dances, often performed in circles, emphasize unity and community, reflecting a culture built on survival and solidarity. A complicated neighborhood. Yet Armenia's story cannot be told without its geopolitical challenges. To the west lies Turkey, with whom relations remain frozen due to historical grievances. To the east, Azerbaijan, locked in decades of conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh, a mountainous region with a majority Armenian population but internationally recognized as Azerbaijani territory. Wars in the 1990s and again in 2020 left scars, displacements, and an unresolved tension that shapes daily politics. To the north, Georgia is a close ally and cultural cousin, though Armenia's deep friendship with Russia sometimes complicates matters, as Georgia has its own conflicts with Moscow. Russia maintains a military base in Armenia, serving as both protector and powerful influencer. To the south, Iran provides Armenia with a vital outlet to Asia, balancing trade and energy needs despite religious and cultural differences. Friendships beyond the region. Amid this turbulent neighborhood, Armenia has nurtured a deep bond with Greece. Both nations share Orthodox Christian traditions, ancient histories, unique languages, and a common memory of persecution under Ottoman rule. This cultural kinship has blossomed into close ties, visible in communities where Armenian and Greek families merge traditions and histories. A nation like no other. In the end, Armenia is a nation of resilience. It is a country of mountains and monasteries, of alphabets and apricots, of tragedy and triumph. Its people have endured exile and genocide, yet built a global presence that amplifies their culture beyond borders. At home, they remain fiercely protective of their identity, while abroad, they weave their traditions into new lands. Armenia is not just a country, it is a living story of survival, creativity, and faith. And though small in size, it carries within it the weight of a civilization that has shaped, endured, and inspired for more than 3,000 years.